Welcome back to I'm Learning Turkish. Today we have an amazing guest, Kimani Swaleh Haruna from Kenya, who is a founder of Napa Language Academy. So now we will discuss Turkish language with you.
Okay.
Where did you start to learn Turkish?
When as soon as I came to Turkey, before we started our normal education, because the academic language was in Turkish, yes. So we had to take at least 6 to 7 months to learn Turkish before we continue with our normal education. Yeah.
Was it Tömer or another language course?
No, it wasn't a Tömer. My school, actually, my high school, they had that Turkish program. So when the student come, they're first given a 6-month program to learn Turkish. Yeah, and then they resume with their own the normal academic courses.
Do you think that 6 months or 8 months is enough?
It isn't enough. The thing about learning a language, there is no specific time. You cannot put a time into it. I'd learn this language in this amount of time. I've been here for almost 10 years, and I'm still learning the language every day. At least I learn something new about Turkish. Yeah.
But I think it's normal.
Yeah, it's normal. 6 months is enough to get you, the basics.
Yes.
You can have a daily conversation. You can interact with the people. You can also kind of understand courses if your courses are offered in Turkish. So yeah, so 6 months could be enough to learn a language. Yeah.
But when did you personally start to have normal daily conversations with local people?
So I think it was quite after 3 months, because we had to, I say, in my school, not so many teachers could speak English. So everyone around us used to make us speak in Turkish. They used to speak us in Turkish. When even we go out, it was also Turkish. So we had that chance to learn that language in quite a short time, because we had no other alternative. Yeah. So
you were really forced.
We were really forced, but it was fun in a fun way, yes. When you go to a country that one language is spoken by most people, it makes you, it motivates you to learn it quicker. Yeah.
That's amazing. So was it hard for you to learn Turkish? What was your first impression about Turkish?
It wasn't, because since I was a bit young, I was still a teenager. So for me, it was fun. We had people from different countries, so the only language you could communicate with them was Turkish. So we used to, when we make, nobody makes fun of you because they don't know the language as good as you do. So it was fun. We learned it in a very fun way. And when we used to go out in the streets, people would try to teach us the small, tiny, stuff that would help us. Yeah. So it was very fun learning it. Yeah.
That's great. What was the easiest in learning Turkish?
I mean, Turkey, if you compare Turkey with my languages, Swahili, it's a mixture of Arabic and the local languages. So we had there were some things that were common. For example, if in Turkey you say haber, in Swahili you're saying habar. If you say merhaba in Swahili you're saying marhaba. There's some similarities, some words from Arab from Arabic that we took also from to Swahili language. So there's some like similarities in that.
Yes, I got it. What about grammar? Maybe grammar of
grammar.
In other
It's
languages.
completely the grammar is completely different because you know when you're talking about yourself, when you're saying I, Ben, you always have to add a certain suffix on at the end of the verb.
Yes.
So this was quite challenging, you know. Like it was really challenging. I think this is the only part that was challenging for me personally.
Okay, yes. Actually, it's pretty challenging for everyone who speaks, like as I know, Indo-European languages, because we don't have such things. We are just like ban and like kedi or something.
Or something else is just the same. The verb doesn't change. Yeah? But in Turkey, if you say he, she, the verb is different. So yeah, that was quite challenging for us.
Okay, I understood it. So why, as you think, should an African learn Turkish language? What are pros or cons of that?
You know, first of all, when it comes to language, there are no disadvantages of learning a new language. You know, as they say, like one language makes you a different person.
Yes.
So there are lots of pros to that. And also now a lot of Turkish people are heading to Africa for business. So I think someone who is in Africa, him or her learning Turkish could be helpful if he wants to work with these Turkish organizations or companies in that level.
So, as you said, Turkish really could help you to get a job, even if you are staying in Africa and you don't even want to visit Turkey.
Absolutely. Most of my friends who graduated here, they usually end up working with Turkish companies because Turkish people would prefer to work with somebody at least who understands their culture and knows their language.
Which is normal, yes.
So this is normal for every people.
Yes, that is really impressive. So
so there's a big plus in this. Yeah.
So I think that is a really nice thing to know for our viewers as well. Thank you for sharing. So do you have any funny stories about Turkish? About your learning Turkish, maybe? Any words which seem funny?
There are some words I cannot mention here, but because of the vowels, in Turkish you have these extra vowels.
Yes.
Like o or they're very difficult to pronounce. So we used to we couldn't pronounce them differently. Yeah, so we ended up saying the wrong words to people. So this was quite interesting. But since we were foreigners, they understood like what we tried to express. But it was quite after we learned like what we were saying to people. It was very cringy.
I probably understood which kind of words you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you're not the only foreigner who has this problem.
Yeah, we had that. Also, there's one gesture that here in Turkey it means it's a very rude gesture, but in my country it means a lot. You know, when you're saying a lot, you do this gesture. But here in Turkey, it's quite rude. So we used to do initially when we came before, understanding the culture. We used to do this gesture, and people would get offended sometimes. So
that is really I understood. But since you're foreigners, nothing can happen to you because Turks have to understand.
Yeah, they understand that. They're showing us tolerance. So after a while we learn these things in the kids. Yeah. So
exactly to our Kenyan viewers, we recommend not to show a gesture, which means a lot in Kenya.
Absolutely. They shouldn't do that. Don't try this at all.
Okay, after the program, I will request this gesture from you, just to know, just in case. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when I face with another Kenyan, I would show him a lot.
You can use this gesture.
Yes, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, what would you recommend to a person who just started to learn Turkish? For example, if he is in Africa or another country. So, like Europe or something like that.
There is no, for me, in my opinion, there is no like one way of learning a certain language. But what I believe the most important thing is like you have to fall in love with the language first and also the culture. And then from there, things become easy. But if you don't fall in love with that language or the culture, you will have a difficult time learning this language. So the most important thing, fall in love with the language first and also the culture. And then it becomes easy for you to learn this language. Yeah.
And of course, I think the person have to have an aim of learning.
Absolutely. Of course, that's very important. You need to set those goals for you. Why are you learning this language? Yes. Of course, if it's for academic purpose, you know, there's a different, that Turkish is different. If it's for just daily conversation, that's also a different Turkish, you know.
Yes, I totally understand. So thank you for all those advices. I think it would be really useful.
Absolutely.
But now, as we know, you are a founder of Napa Language Academy. What does Napa mean?
What does Napa mean?
What is it? Because it's not a Turkish word.
It's not a Turkish,
obviously.
It's not a Turkish word. This actually, there's a place in Africa. It used to be like an astronomical center. It's a very ancient astronomical center. So this place, we took the name from that. The name of the place is called Naptaplaya. So we shorten the word, and we came up with Napa Academy.
So, but of course it's not an academy of astronomy.
No, of course it's not academy of astronomy.
It's a language school. So why don't you name it like language school? Why is it academy?
Okay, because we are not focusing only on language. We teach language, but also we help students prepare for universities here. For example, there's exams like SAT and YOS. You need to take these exams before entering a Turkish university. So we help students prepare this for these exams. And after they've started universities, you know, in some countries, for example, the calculus taught in that country is a bit different. So students usually have, those who have started university, they usually have the problem. So we also we do tutoring for these university courses. So it's a mishmash of everything, but language is like the main thing, because you know you need language before you even start university. You try to live in this country.
So, do you only teach Turkish, or you teach other languages as well?
No, we don't only teach Turkish. We teach English. We offer also German courses. Spanish also.
Spanish, nice.
So we are extending it to other language. It depends with the demand. If we find people who want to learn a certain language, the curriculum is ready. It's there. So we offer also these languages too. So it's not, we are not limited only to Turkish, and we offer also English to Turkish people since they require it.
So, is it hard to teach Turkish people English? Do they suffer?
The thing is, you know, the system, the education system, especially when it comes to English, it's there's that lack of motivation. You know, like people go through that system for 18, let's say 16, 10 years. And they still can't learn or speak the language. So there's that lack of motivation. So initially what we do in our academy, we try to motivate them more, you know, to fall in love. Like I said, you need to fall in love with the language again. So if they fall in love with that language, it also becomes easier for them to learn it.
Yes, I totally understand it, and also the lack of motivation is a thing that I see a lot in Turkish students. And if you see a Turkish which is not able to speak English, maybe he is not motivated enough.
That's the biggest. I think that's the biggest problem, the lack of motivation.
Yes. But let's come back to Napa. What is the history of this language academy? When did you found it? Were you alone, or did anyone help you?
Yeah, actually, we have a funny story about this. It was never intentional. Me and my partner is Ghanaian.
Yes.
We never intended to open a language school. So we had a friend who had a small language school in Kisla. And he asked us to manage for him for quite some time.
Yes.
And then we started managing that language school. And he decided to move to something, he decided to open a school, an international school.
Oh.
So we took that, we saw the potential. And we saw, in the last 2 years, there are a lot of foreigners have been coming to Ankara, especially.
Yes.
So we saw the potential and we saw the demand for learning Turkish. And we decided, to open our own academy. So it wasn't something we had planned on. It wasn't intentional, yeah.
So yes, the best things in the world is something that you never planned.
Yeah, the best. You never know. I never thought, before that I used to work in a defense company.
Oh,
so
wow.
You can imagine the switch from working in a defense company to start running a language school. So this is a huge difference, yeah.
Yes, and by the way, the defense company, what is your actual profession?
Yeah, I studied civil engineering here in there's Konya University. Sorry, it's now Konya Technique University,
Yes.
but before it used to be Selçuk University.
Oh yes, I know.
It's one of the oldest and biggest universities in Turkey. So I did civil engineering there. Normally I was supposed to finish in 4 years, but it took me quite some time. So I cleared it in 5.5 years. And then I worked in the construction field for almost 2 years. And then after that I decided to switch to international trade. And now this.
Okay, so was it hard to accomplish to collecting all these documents for school or something? Is it hard for an African to open a business here and to guide this business, to manage it?
The thing is, there's some industries, there's some sectors you cannot open without, you cannot start, or you can't open a company without having a Turkish partner. So once you find a Turkish partner, these things become easy for you to do them. Otherwise, the laws are there. There's certain steps you need to follow, and if you know these steps, it becomes easier for you to open a business here. Yeah, but like I said, you'd need a Turkish person, as a partner, to help you, because education, you need at least a Turkish person as a partner, especially education sector.
I understood, but was it really hard to open it? Would you recommend an African businessman to come here to find a Turkish partner and to live happily?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll recommend if there are people who are willing to come here and start their businesses. First, you just have to, like any other business, if there's demand, then the business becomes easy to start. Yeah?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah. So if there are people who have that intentions, they could come and they could invest here also and find a Turkish partner, and they could start a business here.
Oh, thanks. Yes.
It's not very, it's challenging, of course, but you just have to understand the culture and how the people think and how they operate. But once you figure this out, it becomes easy to start.
Yeah, thank you. But of course, Napa language is an offline language school.
Yeah.
But do you give any online, lessons? Do you have online courses which, for example, our viewers from Africa could apply to?
It's actually not only offline. We also have online courses.
Yes.
We actually opened Napa 2 months before the pandemic started, so we had to switch to online courses. And after that, there are students who were willing to resume online who were not specifically in Ankara.
Yes.
The students, as much as in African countries, we also used to give them, online courses,
yes.
Turkish courses. So we have online courses as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So, our dear viewers, please check Napa Language Academy in internet, and probably you will be really able to learn Turkish there, or to prepare yourself for another exams or something. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And this is the end of our program for today. Stay tuned with NTR TV and I'm Learning Turkish. Next week, we will learn another grammar, as I told in previous lesson, actually. We will learn verbs, and we'll be able to create some really nice present tenses. I was with you for all this nice interview, Anastasia Kranichenko, and see you soon.